Welcome to the Lonely Road. We're here to join you on your journey to heal and become a better human. Some days that's harder than others, but we're still fucking here.
Cheers.
Regardless of how bad or shitty today is, yesterday is, the fucking past month, we're still fucking here.
The thing is life. And life is gonna life. Life is gonna life the fuck right out of you. But you have to keep going. You have
Yep.
to keep going. And you have to keep going knowing that you have to live with tomorrow's choices.
And I know I start out every couple weeks with this, but thank you guys. Number one, last month was the highest month ever on
For
YouTube,
real, fam. Thank you.
and we've already cleared it this month.
It's exciting.
Um, in the past 4 days, we've cleared 10,000 views. All of last month was 14,000 just on YouTube.
I've noticed some increased comments on the
Yeah.
shorts in particular as well. So I'm gonna be going back and answering those from the last, couple weeks. But that being said, I love the interaction. I it's important. And I hope that we're helping somebody. I hope that we're helping the people that are watching.
And it's even more than that. I want to thank everybody, whether it's you, KJ, when we were just sitting here bullshitting for 20 minutes, or all of you guys that leave comments, whether it's supportive or just asking a question, going through hell like I am currently, and dealing with everything that I am currently. It is so wonderful to watch something that so many people didn't want to believe was going to happen, happening right now. 8 days into fucking April, I've cleared 60,000 views across all socials in the past 8 days. And that's fucking mind blowing.
That's great.
So
It's good stuff.
even in the light of chaos and everything else, we're still helping you guys, and fucking hell, you guys are helping me. Even when it doesn't feel like there's a light there, there is. And
That's what we're here to make it not so lonely.
yeah. And honestly, it means the world because I am going through hell. When you guys hear all of this hell, you guys will be like, what the fuck is all of this? Because it doesn't make any fucking sense. But it feels surreal watching these numbers just grow and grow and grow.
Hmm. Yeah.
Especially looking at things like TikTok where it's like 7,000 in a week. And it's like, where the like it auto uploads. I'm gonna be honest. It just auto uploads because I make the shorts and it goes and sends them everywhere all at the same time. And sometimes you don't check. But goddamn, I have no idea. It's just doing things. And I want to thank all of you guys because that's fucking fantastic.
It is. It is. Thank you so much.
Somehow we're still a week fucking ahead, which is fantastic as well.
It is. I'm glad.
Soon, G Fuel is going to be releasing a mental health flavor and everything else. So I'm going to be getting you that whenever that comes out. It's going to be strawberry of some kind.
Oh,
So both of us will have it. Use code RMTS at checkout for 20% off. So go check them out. They'll make you feel a little bit better. Not as jittery, not as much sugar. Have some fun. But so also when we do that, maybe we'll do something, do a giveaway or something like that if you guys would like that. How's it been, KJ? I know I just ranted for fucking. It felt like 10 minutes.
you're
It
good.
wasn't.
You've had a pretty tumultuous, well, I mean, ups and downs um, in the last week uh, specifically. So I absolutely understand your need to brain dump, get some things out that you can, that you feel, but don't say to everybody. And that's nice that you're able to brain dump. It's nice to be one of those people that you can do that with. So you're welcome. Absolutely love talking to you on our nights when I have the extra few moments to connect. It's nice to be able to do that. Um, and I know that these podcasts and our before after little rants help. They help us both. So
It helps hold everything in, which is nice. But I don't look at this as a conversation between me and you and 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever that number is. I see it as a conversation between me and that person. Like, I don't know if I see this in a different light. It doesn't fucking matter to me. Like, I've had thousands of people live. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't feel any different. It's just a little more exciting. And I can be just as transparent with one person as I am fucking thousands.
right.
I it was weird once I was able to unveil that veil. It kind of just unveiled itself completely, and it's not there anymore, which feels fantastic in so many different ways.
Yeah, I can relate to that feeling with just the little TikTok and YouTube stuff that I was doing. It's it's definitely there's a veil there until there's not. And it's nice to be able to come out of that shell. Even at the beginning of this podcast, it was same but different. And I came out of that. So it's definitely relatable for sure.
Yeah, it just that being released in such a weird way because it's not you just talking to your mom. It's not just you talking to a friend. All of a sudden, you have thousands of friends or family members or whatever. And it sounds corny as hell, but it's like I know that at least 10% of you guys support me. 10% of you might be trolls and assholes, but at least some point somebody cares. And it feels weird. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you feel like you grow up with nobody, knowing that there's like 1,000 people that absolutely would fucking at least run their mouth. That's fucking weird. It just is.
Yeah. Yeah, I can definitely feel strange, I'm sure.
It's like that dipshit's mine. And it's just like, when did I become anybody's? When did anybody want to claim me?
I've been claiming you since birth, even when we weren't talking. So there's more than you realize, sir.
I know. No, I and we'll get into the topic in a second. I had this weird dream. And my mom pointed out exactly. She's like, this is what it means. And I'll give you some more context afterwards. But I told her about this specific location next to a bridge where there's this house that has like hedges that kind of like line the front of it and like driveway. And there's like rapids underneath the bridge and it goes to a waterfall. You probably know exactly where I'm talking about. It's behind that house. That yep, you got it. You're getting there. Um, and we were having a party. No idea. Don't even know the person that lives in that house, but that's where we were. And cousins were there, brothers were there, sister was there, and Bree was there. You and mom were there. And my ex drops off the kids. My ex grandmother walks up to me, hands me the keys to the Durango, and says, "Bury the bitch. I don't want to deal with her anymore," and tells me to go. After I was fucking panicking for a good fucking week about like just making sure I'm okay enough to do everything I have to do. That dream happens. So Joshua gets in the Durango and drives off with it. And I go to take this jack stand that was underneath my mom's van for some reason. She doesn't even have a van at this point. But I had to take the jack stand off and it started leaning. And it like almost fell on me, and Joshua stopped. And Joshua, me, and Brendan pushed it up so it didn't fall on me. No idea how we were that strong enough to do that, but whatever. And my mom's like, "Yeah, so it sounds like you've realized that you have more of a support system than you realize. There's people in this situation that you don't know support you, and you probably never will,
Mhm.
but you know they're there." And then within like a 5-mile radius, something else is happening in that location, possibly that I need to talk to you about after this, which is hilarious because that's the dream I had about a week before we talked about it.
Hmm.
Didn't even know the location for the other thing, just put it all together and was like, "Oh, wow, mom." And she was laughing her ass off. But it was weird when we're talking about like, having support systems that you don't expect and everything else. It's a
Yeah, for
weird
sure.
kind of conundrum that you just fall into.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the whole idea behind figuring out the meaning behind your dreams. I just don't remember mine.
Yeah, I'll remember like one or two a week, and that's a good week. There are some that I don't remember at all, but it's like if I do remember them or they're impactful enough for me to like wake up and be coherent enough to write it down or whatever,
Mhm.
I can remember it for a good day, day and a half. Like, and I can visually remember it, not even just like mental math it and put it together. I can visually remember it. And it's always so topical and very on the nose, but also like philosophical at the same time of like, hey, this is what you're really thinking, or this is what's really going on, but you don't
Right.
realize it.
Yeah.
And it's weird to kind of put those pieces together to try and understand exactly what it is.
It is. It is. You definitely. It's a lot of introspection. Um, to be able to. I remember having a couple that I would put together in my younger years, but of lately, I haven't been able to remember anything.
Yeah. I remember telling the mental health comedian the reoccurring nightmare I used to always have. It was me and grandma and grandpa were driving with their black Dodge, and you took a right by the drive-in instead of taking the left to turn into the drive-in, that weird ass fucking road nobody uses. I still, even with living there, never been down that road. I could assume what's on the other side of that road. Zero context of what it is. So it always felt like we crested that hill and it was like this big open farm. And it was after I started watching Twister, I guess. So there was always tornadoes as we crested the hill. And my grandpa's like, hey, it's okay. We could drive through them. And every single time I jumped out of his Dodge Ram truck and then it gets sucked up into the fucking tornado like it does in the movie. And that happened for a good 5 years,
Oh
from like
wow,
4 years old until like nine.
that makes a lot of sense.
A lot of context of like, wow, that's really fucked up for 4 years old. But yeah.
Well, yeah, lost a lot at a young
Yeah.
age. So
So you came up with this topic when we were brainstorming topics the other day, and I came up with two bangers. You came up with this banger, and we're like, "Hey, which one do we want to do?" And you're like, "Hey, I pre-thought this one out." So what are you thinking about the guilt of being lied to? Where are you feeling this from?
I mean, there's a lot of different angles to come at it from. You can come at it from, I mean, I just remember, growing up and then realizing that life wasn't as authentic as I had thought. Things
Mm.
were different. And then you bring that into your adulthood or semi adulthood, and you get, lied to by this one or that one, maybe a parent. And you begin to feel betrayed, and at an even bigger level for me in the last 4 years, particularly 5 years, it's the loss of trust in government entities or anything political. Although
That's
I'm
how I see it.
very, yeah, I was very, very, and I'm very interested in it, and I keep tabs and track of it. I My trust level is at an all-time low, like a lot of Americans, and that's a big. There's a lot of like smoke and mirrors that have happened in the government, and it's just crazy what perception versus reality has been.
And that part right there is the part that like worries me. And I know worries me is kind of like a weird way to say it. But it's almost like the perception of whatever journalist is writing the fucking docket or writing the fucking paper is completely and entirely entitled to sensationalize every single thing they're writing, regardless of what side you're on. If you're right and you're saying, hey, this lefty is so fucking crazy and off the walls, but there's just as many righties that do the same exact things, it makes me feel like we should almost just remove all fucking advertisements at all from all of it.
Like the sensationalism of it all is crazy. The way that the media, if you want to go that route, can take information and then spit out parts of the story or spin the story in a certain way to make it appear a certain way. When in reality, you look into the situation or read six more articles about it, and it's not exactly that way.
My
So,
favorite one, my favorite one actually happened from when I was a kid. Do you remember about how many shark attacks there were when I was like
mm,
6, 7 years old? It was like all over the news. It was like, oh, another one happened and another one happened. And it was like 150 in like 3, 4 months. That's the only time that shark attacks have ever even passed vending machines. There are more vending machine deaths yearly than there are shark attacks that attempt death. And it's just like, you guys are lying. You guys are making this big crazy fucking thing, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, shark attacks!" And it's like now the beaches are empty because everybody doesn't want to deal with a shark. Meanwhile, you're in New York. You know how many sharks there are? Maybe like 5 in the past 6 months. And it's just like you don't understand. You're not even understanding the context of what you're saying. And it's just like it gets perpetuated in so many different ways that it's just like, oh, this big number. It's stupid.
Yeah, it triggers being lied to, triggers like a grief like process,
Yeah.
because are you're hurt emotionally by somebody not being truthful with you or being genuine with you. At least it is for me. I
Yeah.
had always been genuine until I was taught not to be. And then I allowed myself not to be for a while. And I was at all, uh, not at all proud of that part of my life. It causes confusion. It causes doubt in not only that person, but people going forward. You know what I mean? Like it just as you grow the people in your life, if you're not surrounding yourself with solid people, and you're allowing yourself to be around people that will betray, um, you, because betrayal is a trauma in itself. You're going to be frustrated and you're going to be angry a lot, and not really understand why, because you just are giving people chances. But in the grand
Blindly
scheme,
almost.
yeah, in
And
the
it's
grand,
like
you have to protect
parent
your surroundings.
yeah. And it's like parents almost because they lie about things like the Easter bunny or the tooth fairy or Santa Claus. It just gets perpetuated as like slight lying is okay as long as it causes happiness.
Yeah, yeah, white lies or lies of omission.
And then you see the one kid in school or whatever that gets randomly told that Santa isn't real or the tooth fairy isn't coming today, and they break down because you fucking lied to them, and they were just told by their fucking friend Steve that Santa's not real. It's just your dad wearing a pair of boxers that has a little bit of white floof at the bottom, and he barely puts the presents out there when he's drunk and barely eating cookies. Like Santa's not something that happens. And it's just like, I wonder if that really does start that like guilt of lying almost, because it's like such a common thing in our childhood and everything else that we're like, oh, well, it's normal. And then, everybody is. So why isn't it, acceptable?
Yeah, it's definitely good point of conversation to have, like, when does that start? And it with little white lies, unless your parents, out and out lie to you, which I don't remember mine doing, but, you know, as I got to a point where my parents started having marital issues, then, there wasn't necessarily lying to me, but what was true for them at the time may not have been true the next day, because my parents may have had an argument and my dad may not have come to get me because of that. I don't know. I'm just making something up, but I know that there were times, with the first heartbreak in your life, you think about what was the very first thing that broke your heart. What was the very first lie? Because lies are heartbreaking, and it starts a whole cycle of betrayal of the trust, of the trauma, the anger towards the situation. And then again, the when you throw a pebble in the water, you have the waves. The waves, the different rings of the people that you're going to attach that to, because people attach other people's stuff that you had with one person to another person, because you just don't trust after being lied to. It's a whole
Yeah.
grief process.
And like
It
another thing that connects to this is you will slowly find out in between 10 and 18 that the entire world, even your friends, even like family members, even their life's not about you. And that was a weird thing for me to learn too. Like, oh yeah, your best friend cheated on you with your girlfriend. What the fuck is going on? Like, I thought that was my friend. I thought that was my girlfriend. What the fuck is all of this? And it's
Yeah.
just like there's a different level of like, oh well, tee I didn't know. And it's just like I think that's like one of the biggest lies that you hear as a kid. Or not necessarily you're not out and out told, oh, the entire world's about you because you should never tell your kid that. But it's almost like when you look at the world and life, there's something that shows you that you're kind of the main player character for the first 5, 6 years of your life.
Hmm.
And then there's always that kind of like turmoil that like shakes it up.
When you
And it's
realize you're
like,
not.
yeah. And it's like a life altering fucking thing when you're like, oh, everybody has feelings. I don't even know how to handle those yet. Oh, wait, not everybody loves me. I'm kind of a jackass. And it's just like a weird kind of shakeup of absolutely everything that you build this fucking shaky ground on at like 5, 6 years old. And you're like, wait, everything's wrong. Everything.
Yeah. When perception meets reality, sometimes needs to there's definitely some trauma, some rebuilding that needs to come with that. On whatever level, whether it's the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, and reconciling in your head. Like I didn't, I didn't see it myself as my mom and dad lying to me. I saw it as my mom and dad telling a child, um, you know, and if it's framed this way, that's a different story. If you allow it to fester, and just continue to tell one white lie after another white lie, your kid's going to learn how to tell those white lies. And then they're going to turn into bigger snowball lies, and it's going to just affect their lives in a really weird way. But coming back to what I was saying is that I didn't really think of it as my parents lying to me. I thought of it as them telling a age appropriate
Yeah.
an age appropriate white lie. You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
I got older, it was more of not Santa Claus, but more of the magic of Christmas. And I became to understand it as it's not really a jolly man, just kind
No.
of like God. He's not a guy sitting up on a throne, if that's something that you believe in, but he's a spirit and a feeling and a a force. It was like that with Santa Claus for me, or the Easter Bunny. It was the magic of the holiday,
Oh,
that
absolutely.
they tried to
It,
make
it
kids. So yeah,
it turned the same way to me, but it's just like I remember making a joke, and you see the kid that's like in fourth, fifth grade that like didn't understand,
yeah,
and then it hits them in the face, and it's just like you understand that they it was held on for too long because they wanted their kid to still stay young.
right. It's hard to see.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's hard to balance as a kid too, because you know, but some people don't. Some kids don't, and you don't want to, you don't want to be that asshole, and ruin everything for everybody, or
I actually
even
handled it in
kind of
an
infringe
interesting
on
way.
their own beliefs, because that's the beginning of that.
Maddie told Nick probably when she was like 6, and he was like in between 4 or 5-ish, obviously depending on the months. But we changed Christmas from like a specific day to doing it like the 24 days of Christmas, like the movies and everything else. We would sit down and watch a movie together, and they would get a present because it's like, okay, little dopamine throughout the months. Let's see how this works instead of just doing it all in one day. Because how many kids are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play with everything that's here, and then they get burnout playing with the box because they can't open it.
Right.
And that was fun for like 2 or 3 years. But I think showing that it was so different and such a change of like, okay, you guys figured it out. There's zero reason to go back now. Let's change it and kind of see exactly turning it into a game and have fun and let's enjoy the holiday. Ended up being really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's interesting. It's important to do with kids, so that they understand that you didn't really want them to believe growing up and into adulthood that there's a man in a red suit with a beard and a jolly old belly that comes down your chimney that he can't fit in and and burns his ass on your fucking flames at night and eats your goddamn cookies and gives the carrot to his reindeer. You know, it's not something that your parents, well, should want their children to go into
Yeah.
teenage years believing. It's just not. So it's nice to see that you know, chose to make that transition with your kids, kind of as my mom did in her own way.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because at like 15, 16 years old, that magic of Christmas disappears real quick,
Yeah.
especially as you get older. So
Oh
it
yeah.
was like I wanted to try and elongate that for them the best I possibly can of like not just because they're big things or things that they're like, oh, I wanted this all year. It's like I want you to have like get that little drip of like, okay, I feel good.
Yeah.
It feels good. It feels good that somebody cares. It feels good that somebody, isn't lying to you and everything else. And that's where I think a lot of the guilt from being lied to comes from is like you don't know the other person's intentions. Is like with the news, they're trying to get you to look at something a certain way, and they could be like showing you the biggest smoke and mirrors ever to show you your own asshole and tell you that it's blue.
Yeah.
And you have no idea if they're trying to be malicious, if they're trying to be funny, if they're just being a douche or what. It could be anything in between.
Yeah,
And
no, I
it
mean,
makes you confused about what the perception of the real world is because
absolutely.
there's no credibility.
It's somebody that you wholly trusted or trusted on at least some level, you know, and it was a level enough to break a trust. And then, you know, when you have that happen to you, what next? Do you decide that you're going to continue to allow that person to do that sort of thing to you and show them that it's okay? Or are you able to set a firm boundary and move forward with that person if they're able to change their behavior? Or is it just something that you know, move forward if you can forgive, if it's possible, if it's a forgivable offense? Um, it can absolutely be a path towards healing if it's something about deception or a betrayal that's beyond repair. Maybe you need to set your boundaries, focus on that self care, and validate your own feelings about it before you move forward with anything. So you
Yeah.
have a choice to make. It's like choose your own ending book, and you got to think about all those choices and how that's going to affect you because that's something that I didn't do in life, and I allowed people to continue to do things to me by not setting up those boundaries because I really didn't know what that meant for myself or them.
I didn't either. And like I've been having a lot of this specific conversation, how to set down, how to do this,
Mm,
because it's such a weird fucking thing to even come to terms with yourself.
yeah,
And coming to terms with it just by itself feels weird. Why it feels weird to tell somebody no when they're a grown adult doesn't doesn't even like comprehend in my mind. Because like you're going back to 5 years old when you go to reach on the stove and your mom smacks your hand no because the fucking stove's on. Don't touch it, you dipshit. You're gonna get burnt. And when you get burnt, I'm gonna walk away. And it doesn't matter how hard you get burnt. If you fuck around too much, you're gonna find out.
yeah,
And the biggest lie and boundary crossing thing that I think most people have dealt with is cheating. It is finding out somebody wasn't fucking honest, wasn't fucking 100, and it fucking sucks.
uh, it does. It absolutely does.
I I think the biggest one that hit me the hardest. There is this guy that was around my ex all of the fucking time in school. He tried kissing her. I said, "Hey, that's a problem. We don't fucking do that." I got told that, "Hey, he's just my friend from kindergarten. It's okay. Can't get rid of him. He's like a brother to me." 3 years later, say the same thing. "Hey, you haven't talked to him. I still feel uncomfortable because of what happened. You never fixed it. Get rid of him." No, he's like my brother. I've known him since kindergarten. Day of my wedding. Hey, bud, can you tell me not to get married? I don't want to get married. I'm waiting for your message. You didn't want to get rid of him because I was right. Sorry. It's the honest truth. But you know how fucked up that has made me fucking worry about everything since? It warps your entire fucking perception of everything. Because once again, you're still not realizing, even after you realize that people have their own perception in the world, it doesn't happen in real time, that people don't give a fuck. If
Yeah.
something's better, something's what they want, they don't give a fuck if they lie to you. They're just going to get what they want.
Yeah. And then there's the situation of, oh, you cheated on me or lied to me. I'm going to cheat on you or lie to you, and let you know how it feels. And then it's just like this cyclical, whatever
Toxic
the case is.
situation.
Yeah, it's nuts. And once, uh, speaking in partner terms, once a partner lies to you, it's a direct act against the trust and the honor of your bond. And that's how I feel now. You know what I mean? Like I can't lie by omission to my wife. And
Yep.
without, uh, even when I omit, uh, there's a nagging,
Yep.
and so I end up saying something. And it always catches me. Of course, I'm human. I'm always gonna, always gonna fall. But you end up, if you keep those cracks, and deterioration, of those lies, um, and that continues, and you allow that water into the cracks in that foundation, it's all going to blow apart, and then you are going to fall. That's how you fall off the bottom.
That shit actually gave me a really beautiful conversation with Brie, actually. Because I looked at her and said, I don't want to go back down this road. I don't want to feel like shit again. I don't want to feel like I'm valueless. I don't want to feel like all of my life is lies. It took me a very long time to find this ground again. It took me a long ass fucking time to realize what was real because everything to me was so fake for so long. I don't want to do that again.
Right. Yep.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to sit here and worry about if I'm being lied to or not. And I want to be able to have complete transparency with you always.
Hmm.
And it doesn't matter if you want to hold on to something for fucking 5 days because you can't get around your feels to say it or whatever. I want us to have a boundary that if we say, hey, we need to talk about this in the next 2, 3 days to handle whatever the fuck's going on, there's a boundary on that. It's not, I'm going to hold on to it for 2 more days after that. It's, we put a timeline on it. We need to fucking handle it. So we can let it go. Because if we sit here and we tarnish whatever the fuck you build, it's all gone. If you cannot repair this trust that you burnt on this day at this time for this thing, that trust keeps burning.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and I learned that with my ex. It's like you tell me exactly how to fix it, and I prove to you that I'm fixing it. Do everything I possibly can, but it's not in front of your face enough, and you tell me that I didn't fix it, which then makes me want to burn down absolutely fucking everything because you're telling me I'm not doing enough.
You're not hearing me. You're not seeing me. And
Yeah,
that's maddening. It's maddening, but it's hard. It's hard to build trust, but it's double hard with someone. And I know because I was married to one previously, that continues to push you down. Um,
yeah. It's
you
like they
know,
don't want to accept that you're fixing it almost.
yeah.
It's like the validation of that you fucked up or that they feel untrustworthy to you gives them power. And I don't like that. So I told her, I was like, hey, if we're rebuilding something, we're putting things back together. You tell me exactly what you want to see. I'll tell you the same. Uh, Show me exactly how to do it, and I will show you exactly what the fuck I'm going to do. And I'm going
Yeah.
to accomplish it every single time. And if it's not enough by this time, tell me exactly how to change it and fix it. And if we're burning ourselves in that way and it's not fucking working, then we know the answer.
It's
But at
important.
least we had enough courage and guts to say, hey, give me a month to fix this. Tell me exactly how to fix it, and I'm gonna fucking knock it out of the park. If I don't, I don't. But at least I'm trying.
It's important to have that conversation because then you can at least have a checklist or in your mind of what you need to do in not only your mind, but your partner's mind, of what needs to be fixed, because you may think something needs to be fixed in a certain way, and they may not see it because it may not be in the way that they envisioned it having been fixed. So it's important to have those conversations uh, when you are fixing things like that.
It's a shitty situation all around. And, you know, for such a long time, I struggled with lying and stuff like that because it was like, okay, I don't want to deal with you being sad. I don't want to deal with you being angry. I don't want to deal with the situation, if we want to be honest. It
Yeah,
wasn't worth it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to hear about how I'm a piece of shit because I lied that I broke a pen or that I couldn't put the gas in the fucking car because the gas handle had to be turned sideways and I'm a fucking Homer Simpson today. Like, I don't want to hear about any of it. So I lied. And, that broke a lot of shit. But at the
yeah,
same time, I tried to fix it.
right,
That
right,
accountability is the most important thing you can do.
yeah. And now and you realized you got to a point, and I suffered by w the times that I feel like I lied in my life was absolutely to save other people's feelings,
Yep.
or having to deal with seeing, how they would feel because I acted a certain way, and I don't like when that shit's done to me. So I try not to do it to other people. And I started out that way, and I'm back to that way. But for a little bit in my life, it was kind of like a cyclical. Um,
And it feels like you're either one way or you're not. Like
yeah,
either you're so cutthroat that you just say everything exactly blanketly how it is, like the craziest level of autist you possibly could be. Like, dude, you got fucking spiky hair, you tard. And like, or you're so protective over everything. Like, dude, did you dye your hair recently? All the gray's gone. And it's just like you're lying in both ways because like it's just slightly off of what the fuck you're trying to say, but neither one's honest. And it's just like, dudes, even if you're being 100% transparent and honest, you're still not being fucking honest because you're either being so raw that you're cutting everybody with every little thing that you're saying, or you're lying to them. And it's just like there's no in between. And
well,
that's
I mean,
so weird.
there is an in between, but you
But
have
finding it's
to.
hard.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of time to figure out what that line is for you in your life, because you don't want to go, guns blazing, um, at the mouth all the time. That was really detrimental for me.
Me
I
too.
went from quiet to pissed off and angry, and you know, foaming at the mouth about shit. And it got me nothing but anger and resentment and just failed, just distanced relationships. And I'm able to be honest, but not ruthless. And that's a very important distinction. You can be honest without being ruthless and hurtful.
Exactly. I'm not gonna lie to you, this road is fucking long. Some days it's fucking lonely. But you guys make it better. Pick up your fucking G Fuel. Keep walking. Because tomorrow's gonna fucking be better. We'll see you fucking next time.
Cheers.
Bye.